you feeling, my friend? Anything we can help you with?
Probably not. This might be a little low. We can find something to stack, maybe.
I have a box.
Oh shit, I have a tripod. What am I even
Yeah, I
talking
know. I
about?
was like, oh, didn't we?
Actually, I don't. I forgot the
There's a white cardboard box in the hallway. It's already been mentioned, I should say. If you can't find it, I'll grab it. Just move the key one person will show you. Just press the right arrow and it'll move
I hate to bring up such lively conversation, but then quite spectacular. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Elad Raymond, and I am the founder and the executive director of the Onero Institute. Thank you for joining us on what, for me, and for our ever-growing community of changemakers, has become the most inspiring and clarifying evening of the year. The Onero Gala is truly special. In a reality where it is increasingly much easier to focus on how everything is going wrong, it is vital and necessary for communities like ours to take a moment to celebrate our accomplishments and our deep-rooted shared values. On this evening, we get to express our appreciation for our dedicated members, new and old, our esteemed alumni, our professional partners, our advisors, our families, our friends, and our supporters. We get to align on our understandings and our responsibilities in the current moment. We get to unite under the banner of a more promising future for all. It is also the night where we see our mission's impact on full display. Leaders for today and leaders for tomorrow gather together in the service of building meaningful dialogues. I am humbled and grateful for your partnership and your presence this evening. I would like to extend a warm welcome to the newest class of Onero members, many of whom are with us here tonight. This fall, we saw our membership grow by about a third, one of our most successful recruiting cycles in history, as we near about 150 active members, now on multiple campuses across the country, all contributing their voices to our platform and developing themselves in the process. It is so moving to be back at the Elliott School, where this journey began 4 years ago, and where it has continued to grow. At last year's gala, we capped off a year of record growth, reflected on some of our highest profile events ever, and celebrated the resurgence of our impact since the midst of the pandemic. And in its aftermath, we felt that we definitively established ourselves within the DC community and had poised ourselves for future growth. In a way, we had firmly put down our roots. But of course, Onero's story does not exist in a vacuum. While we were optimistic about our potential growth in the year ahead, the state of the world around us remained a cause for grave concern. In the past year, we have seen the escalation of severe conflicts. We have seen unbridled democratic backsliding and regular attacks on basic freedoms, a deterioration of the respect of the rule of law, an absence of leadership built on the quality of character, expanding economic disparities, and more evident and devastating impacts of climate change than ever before. Many are understandably afraid of what the future might bring, particularly for our most vulnerable communities. They place their faith in the youth of our world to turn the tide in favor of freedom, in favor of justice, in favor of prosperity, and in favor of peace. And so, we as the Onero Institute, and we as the youth, have been presented with a serious challenge to influence positive change under some of the harshest conditions in history. But I would take a moment to remind everyone where Onero gets its name from. Onero comes from the Latin for a weight or a load. The meaning behind this is that older generations place a hopeful expectations on the generations that follow them. They tell their children and their grandchildren, you and your generation will be the ones to step up and solve the problems of tomorrow, for the sake of all of us and for the sake of your children. And this charge is passed down to succeeding generations in every era. At Onero, it is our duty to help empower members and, by extension, the wider community of young leaders accept that challenge, no matter how severe the world around them is. It is the everlasting need for young people with their innovative thinking and unique perspectives that make an organization like Onero so necessary. If we truly believe in the power of youth and in the spirit of that intergenerational call, we must believe that those working on positive change can and in fact will thrive even under the harshest conditions. Like in nature, life can flourish just about anywhere. And as we put down our roots last year in an already challenging moment, today, despite the dangerous trends in the world that we see, Onero is like a flower that is ready to bloom and embrace its full potential. Today, we are taking our mission to new campuses and cities like never before, establishing our first official new chapter at Tufts University, and beginning to make waves in more communities across the country. We are expanding the scope of our research by taking on new research areas, no matter their complexities. I'm very proud to announce that in the spring, we'll be formally launching our first Middle East Studies program, for which we have some special guests here tonight joining us. We are also expanding the scope of our work beyond youth-driven origins and into an increasingly intergenerational future that engages everyone in our network, not just our young members, but also our increasing alumni community and our special VIP contacts across the field. I feel that Onero's growth under daunting external conditions represents just a small sample of what youth are capable of, even when the odds are stacked against them. And just as the world places faith in us as youth, we cannot accept that weight, that burden, without the dedication, support, and drive of our allies of all generations. And that is why it is friends like our Henri Gerardo, and like all of you that are so important. It is why we present the Bridge Award every year to honor those existing leaders who see the value in reaching across divides. We win by building coalitions, not by building divisions. I welcome you all to join our journey to be a light in an uncertain future. I am confident in the power of our community to make a difference, and I am forever thankful for your passion and the work we do together. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you all for joining us here tonight. My name is Annalise Baranaga, and it has been a great pleasure to have worked with the Onero Institute over the past 4 years. Throughout my time at Onero, I've gotten to work on a myriad of projects, from the Delta newsletter to our recruitment efforts. But one of the most memorable was putting together an event on human rights in Latin America, through which I got to know an esteemed expert in international affairs, a friend to the Onero Institute, and this year's Bridge Award recipient, Gerardo Berthlin. Mr. Berthlin is Vice President of International Programs at Freedom House, overseeing the organization's efforts to advance democracy and human rights across all regions. He has nearly 3 decades of experience working on democratic governance, anti-corruption, human rights, and civil society strengthening. He has worked in over 50 countries and was director of the Latin America and Caribbean programs at Freedom House. Prior to joining Freedom House, he was a senior associate at Tetra Tech's democracy and governance sector, where he managed large USAID-funded projects. Between 2009, he was the Governance and Decentralization Policy Advisor at the United Nations Development Program Regional Service Center in Latin America and the Caribbean and Panama. He is the author of 2 books on political development and democracy, and the co-author of 3 books about democratic governance, political parties, and institutional development. He holds a master's degree from the University of Chicago in political science, another master's degree from Georgetown University in Latin American Studies, and a Bachelor of Arts in International Affairs from our very own George Washington University. Mr. Berthen has not only been tireless in his work promoting human rights, but has also made a significant impact on young people interested in international affairs. He has lent his time and energy to promoting the Onero Institute's mission throughout the years, and has been an invaluable source of guidance. We are honored to have him here with us tonight. Please join me in welcoming him with a round of applause.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, thanks, Annalise, for that kind introduction. I am pleased, honored, and humbled to accept this award. A very special thanks to the Onero Institute for selecting me, especially to Elad, Sarah, and Hannah, and the entire Onero Institute leadership and membership. And of course, thank you to my family and friends who are always supporting me and being here this evening. I am a fan of the Onero Institute. As you can see, I'm wearing even the tie that matches the color. No coincidence. Not only because it's run by current and former students, but also because it brings together our future leaders in international affairs at a critical moment for the world today. When I was a student here at GW, there was not an Onero Institute. But if there were, I would have actively participated and got involved. Like today, the world in my student years was in an inflection point. We were living in the era of the Cold War, and in November 9 of 1989, 35 years ago, a heavily fortified wall that had been built in 1961 to close the border between the East and West, known as the Berlin Wall, was open, and the wall ceremoniously came down. This marked the beginning at the end of the Cold War and the fall of the communist dictatorship in East Germany, paving the way for German unification in 1990 and the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. The fall of the Berlin Wall and its aftermath in countries like Hungary, what was then Czechoslovakia and Romania, were driven by two elements. One, young university student leaders and demands to hold free elections. The so-called Velvet Revolution was a manifestation of that desire and the symbolic takeover of the streets in Prague, Bucharest, and Budapest. What followed was a wave of democratization known as the Third Wave. For nearly 2 decades, democratic transitions continue and reach a high point around mid-2000s. Since then, unfortunately, we have witnessed a gradual but steady decline of democratic governance. Whether we use the Freedom House Index or the VDEM metrics or the Economics Intelligence Unit panel analysis, there has been an erosion of democratic governance. I wrote an article early this year to focus on one element that could explain that backsliding trend. I was curious to analyze a rash of statistics suggesting that the world's young people were increasingly disengaged from democratic political life. They were voting less, rejecting party membership, and telling researchers that their country's leaders were not working in their interest. Kind of like a glass half empty view. But at the same time, I also observed in my engagement and trainings that young people remain engaged in civic life. They attended protests and demonstrations, used the internet to make their voices heard, and were active outside the traditional political sphere, like in business, in school or university, and in religious communities. This was the glass half full view. Yes, world participation in national elections for youth, described as those between 18 to 29 years old, averages 47.7% according to the World Value Survey. The figures vary country by country, with Latin American youth voting at a relative high rates, often reaching 65%, while youth in Europe and Africa vote at lower rates of between 40 and 50% respectively. An estimated 42% of people aged 18 to 29 voted in the recent 2024 US election, according to an analysis from Tufts, the Circle Project. This share of voters is lower than the 2020 US presidential elections, when at least 52% of young people showed up to vote. But in addition to low electoral participation, young people also feel excluded from important government decisions that affect their lives and future. And there is deep skepticism among young people about the efficacy of government. The trends illustrate an ongoing decoupling between what policymakers do and what young people are concerned about. But I argue that young people were not turning away from democracy itself or its values, but rather from the form of democracy and government they were experiencing. The debate over youth engagement levels also comes at a time when civics and international affairs knowledge and interest as a whole has plunged to new lows. At the same time, the local, national, international stages are more complex and multidimensional, and therefore beliefs, expectations, and perceptions are more diverse. It is that time in history where there are lots of gaps to close. And it's time to build and/or strengthen bridges. If there is one thing that human history teaches us, is that when humans have evolved, survived, and experienced, they have done it in cyclical periods, like a pendulum. History is a continuum, but with irregular processes and fluctuations between directions. In today's interconnected and yet diverse world, addressing global challenges require the active participation and engagement of young leaders like yourselves. One way to close the gap is to bridge these different things that are not connected. For example, here are 6 actions that we can do. First, bringing youth and policymakers closer so policymakers can understand the needs of aspirations better, and you can understand and engage in constructive dialogue with them. Better youth representation, not only in local, national, but also in international organizations and institutions. More spaces for youth to voice their opinion and concerns. Leveraging technology and digital tools and platforms for dialogue, bridging geographical barriers, and enabling a broader range of youth to participate in global policy debates. Promoting greater awareness and education on international affairs among youth to incorporate global issues into school curricula, and promoting programs that enhance global citizenships. And facilitating mentorship programs between policymakers, diplomats, and international affairs specialists and young leaders to foster mutual understanding and collaboration. We can benefit from the fresh perspective and innovative ideas of young people, while youth can learn from our experience and insights. Now more than ever, bridging youth and policymakers in international affairs is vital for creating a more inclusive, innovative, and effective global governance system. This is why we need the Onero Institution, or the Onero Institute. But moving forward does not involve a straight line. Rather, it's a zigzag trajectory. I am now speaking directly to all of the young leaders gathered here. Continue to be involved in decision-making processes. Continue to promote dialogue and foster trust. Let policymakers tap into the energy, creativity, and fresh perspectives you bring. And let us embrace you as a valuable partner in shaping our common future for policies that are more responsive, equitable, and sustainable. Keep the good fight going. Although we are now facing another inflection point in global affairs, as others before, we can drive this needed change. And working together as individuals, but working together. We have the power to leverage the multiplier effect of all of our individual actions. We might not see the light, but as we gather in one of the zigzag points of history, it is time to gain energy and get ready for the next part of our journey. Finally, this is an unforgettable night for me personally. The Bridge Award will always be dear to my heart. It will remind me that encouraging and trusting young leaders pays off. So thank you once again to the Onero Institute for using the Bridge Award to reaffirm the power of youth to change and strengthen our democratic institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. We are going to start dinner very soon, so please feel free to indulge with what's on the table right now. Our staff will be coming around shortly with the rest of the meal, so please enjoy. Thanks.
I don't know what it is.
Sarah, you had mentioned Andrew had something that could like help with the charging, or
He had like an extension cord.
okay, that would be very useful actually. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Of course, I would grab the stuff for everybody except for us.
You graduated? Have changed. It's actually really great for moving. You know, there. And then it needed to be really fancy. Yard now. That was really cool. You see that? The other is that clean area over there. Yeah.
Can you pause it, or are you just gonna keep going?
I mean, we can end it and then re-begin
Yeah, it doesn't
it.
matter. Hi, Miles.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's all good now?
Yes.
I guess I'll go for graduation. And then I'll start.
So what do you? Okay. Yeah. Oh, so you're finishing one. Got it. Okay.
Yes, so I also work with it doesn't start at all. So I'm just looking at I'd rather be abroad to make sense of so
Yes, Sarah, just real quick. The second draft, please. I sound like
Andrew sent me whatever one you got. If it's different, like, can you just email it to me right now? Once everybody is in the roles, we can all just change it.
yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I mean,
Email is,
one with all the,
just Sarah.
wait, hold on, what was it again?
Sarah, S-A-R-A.
Maybe to go back. You were taking bets that you were going to eat.
Okay.
We're watching it like This was it?
Hi everyone, hope that everyone's doing well. I'm Andrew Ma. I'm the other co-founder of the Onero Institute, and I'm really thrilled to see everyone here today. When I spoke here last year, I told everyone that the Onero Institute has grown every year in membership, in programming, and enthusiasm. I'm very happy to report that I believe this continues to be true this year. But today, I'm also here to talk about what it means to be a young person in the present moment. Standing on the shoulders of giants before us, with the guidance of those mentors who have paved the way, young people represent hope for a better future. When we founded the Onero Institute, we understood that the youth are the people who must inherit the problems of today and become the leaders of tomorrow. That doesn't happen on its own though. Certainly not just by sitting around and waiting. With the rate at which our world evolves, the aspiring young people who seek to make a difference must constantly strive to move forward. That's the type of spirit that we hope to cultivate and nurture at the Onero Institute. Every person, in their own way, can do something positive for their team, their community, and for the world. Whether it is the Delta, helping everyone stay informed, the regional programs and research teams producing quality youth-written work, our communications and operations team helping us to work together and spread our message, everyone has an important role to play in creating a better tomorrow. But the tools which we and countless others around the world use are in danger. Our society's growth and evolution has already become inextricably linked with the internet. It's not only a virtual space or a system of interconnected computer networks. For us, it is the lifeblood of our efforts and the medium which we employ to connect the hearts and minds of people across the world. In the 2024 Freedom on the Net report, Freedom House found that global internet freedom declined for the 14th consecutive year. Young people are disproportionately impacted by the things covered in that report. The restriction of freedom on the net is a strike against the ability of young leaders to organize. It is a strike against the oppressed people seeking to share their stories with the world. It is a strike against the common person who wants to stay informed and vote for the most suitable political candidate. It is a strike against the vulnerable people fleeing conflict and violence. It is a strike against the free dissemination of information necessary for a healthy and thriving democracy, and the integrity of elections everywhere. It is a strike against the Onero Institute and like-minded young people across the globe. It is a strike against progress itself. But most dangerous of all, it is a convenient excuse for the world to slip into indifference and give up the battle. After all, if we can't win, what point is there to fight? Humanity was fine before the internet, before the rise of artificial intelligence, so maybe we should just let everything play out without interfering. And with our limited time in the world, if things could get so much worse, why not just be content with what we have right now? Why even bother to hope for more? The fight to reverse the decline of internet freedom may be out of the hands of some of us, but the fight to keep the flames of hope burning, that remains the responsibility of every single one of us. Tell your friends and family that their actions matter, that their words and choices can make a difference, that no matter if their desired outcomes actually occur, the little things they do have tremendous meaning. The courage to face the crushing weight of the future is kept aloft by the activists in Myanmar, the civilians fleeing conflict in Sudan, the volunteers for social causes around the world, the students here in this very room, and the dreams of children across the globe who believe that they can help bring about peace and prosperity. Today, let us all together make a commitment that we shall never live in a world where those children might not even dare to dream. As I've said previously, many times, and last year, the Onero Institute was founded with the aspirational vision of a society that respects the opinion of well-informed young people in international affairs discourse. No matter what happens, even in the face of adversity, we will continue to foster intergenerational dialogue, create opportunities, and carve out a place for young people to improve the future of our planet. I want to express my sincere gratitude to everyone for coming here, listening, partaking in discussion, and helping us advance towards our mission. I hope you will all enjoy this upcoming video presentation about youth and internet freedom, an issue very near and dear to my heart. And from myself and on behalf of the Onero Institute, thank you all, and I hope to see all of you again next year. Thank you very much.
My name is John Jesperson. I'm a senior research analyst for technology and democracy. What that means in practice is that I manage our Freedom on the Net report, which is Freedom House's annual assessment of internet freedom around the world. Our report assesses 72 countries around the world, which amounts to about 87% of the world's population of internet users. Unfortunately, global internet freedom declined for the 14th consecutive year in 2024. Our research has found that freedom of expression is in peril around the world. Meanwhile, a rapid series of elections has deepened this crisis. And we found that more than 1 billion voters around the world were forced to make decisions about their future while navigating a censored, distorted, and unreliable information space. It's really important that people be able to access spaces online that are free from interference, so that they can express their views on political issues, so that they can learn more about critical issues relating to their democracy. At the end of the day, democracy doesn't end at the ballot box. And so these sorts of issues of protecting freedom of expression and access to information, ensuring that people are free from undue surveillance, these are about safeguarding these sort of basic principles of democracy. Young people are at the forefront of digitalization. Young people are at the forefront of taking their entire lives online, and it's increasingly the case that many people around the world rely on the internet for day-to-day business, to speak with their loved ones, their families, and to go about the simple day-to-day work of talking about the things that you care about. It's often young people who are at the real vanguard of bringing their lives online. So when we think about these sorts of restrictions on internet freedom, it's often young people who are experiencing the brunt of this sort of disruption to their daily lives. I also think it's important to note that young people around the world are often at the forefront of democratic movements and protests. They're often leading the charge when it comes to the fight for human rights around the world. We see this year to year in our reporting, whether it's the young people who led a series of incredibly inspiring protests in Georgia over the past few years, or the pro-democracy leaders in Sudan who have been so resilient in pushing back in the face of a really brutal civil war. These are young people who know why it's so important to be able to access the internet freely and speak about your rights in a way that matters. So I think of this as both a disproportionate impact, but also in terms of the leadership of young people in fighting back against these certain trends.
Hi, my name is Ryan McKinney. I'm Onero's Structured Communications, and I've been with Onero for about 2 years now. This day and age, social media is the primary way that young people connect with each other, engage with the broader community and kind of become informed of the issues that are directly impacting them. So we use social media as our main form of communication to kind of engage our core base, which is young people. We use it to not only bring them into our broader mission and our broader organization, but also to deliver them dynamic, interesting, and truthful content about the international affairs, issues that are affecting them. Young people in this day and age have grown up in an era of a lot of uncertainty, and I've seen social media being used to connect with each other and inform and engage with people about these issues and kind of organize in a way that is informative and truthful and effective and broad-reaching at its core.
My name is Solano. I have been with Onero for a year now. I am working in the Latin American team and the team lead. Internet freedom and research are connected in their nature, since a lot of our research right now occurs in the digital era. So all of our digital communities and even the stories that we're researching, how we reach them is digitally. Social media just acts like another layer and an agent that needs to be studied. You can see how social media really just displays how people are feeling, and that's just a very important aspect of research. Even the gaps in all the media that you can find is a true teller about what's going on in that country. You can definitely pinpoint to a kind of censorship or internet constraints that that country has. Youth mobilization, specifically through social media, is just an elemental part, I would say, of politics nowadays. I'm from Puerto Rico, naturally, and in the summer of 2019, there's a story about a governor who had his chat with his administration leaked to the public. The comments that were made about the Puerto Rican people really angered individuals, and social media was a crucial element for mobilization. There was a national move to stop for a day, and the national highway was stopped completely. And that was mobilized through social media. Coming from a country in which the publishing of these text messages changes the course of our history, between wondering as to what other impacts we might see in the future. If you take the figure of Greta Thunberg, she works as essentially a political figure. And it's interesting to see how social media can push someone and just give them a platform where they can speak on such issues that are of vital importance for the youth to be engaged, since it's policy that will impact us and also all the generations that come after us. I'd like to extend my congratulations to this year's Bridge Award winner, Onero Gala. It is a pleasure to have you in our Onero Institute and just engage with you in conversations. Thank you for your work at Freedom House, and we look forward to all of your work that will come out.
I think all of us at Freedom House has benefited from Gerardo's expertise, his warmth, his kindness. He's a phenomenal colleague, and this award is certainly well deserved.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much to Tyler Alexander for that incredible video and for everyone who was involved. So before we close the night, I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to everyone who made this evening possible. To Alon Raymond and Andrew Ma, your passion, your leadership of Onero inspire me and every other member of this organization daily. Your work makes the mission of Onero clear to everyone you interact with, and I'm proud to work very closely with both of you on work that is critical to both the present and the future of foreign policy discussions, so thank you. I also want to thank Hannah Sobrin, Maggie McKinney, Che Wan, Manisha, and all of our entire Gala staff, Jordan as well, for your hard work, both in this room and outside of it. We really cannot quite literally, this staff transformed this event from a series of pages in Google Docs and Monday work streams into a real living, breathing event that you are all sitting at now. I've helped coordinate events for a wide variety of organizations over the last several years, and I have to say that this one is special and unique and very close and near to my heart over the past 2 years of my experience with it. And I hope you feel the same. To our lead donors who generously fuel our work,
Thank you for believing in us and what we're building together. And once again, to Gerardo Berthin, our Bridge Award recipient, your lifelong dedication to fair and free elections reminds us that integrity and democracy are worth every effort. And to your beautiful family, thank you for sharing this moment with us. We really appreciate it. Finally, I want to acknowledge our fledgling but actively growing Onero board for your vision and commitment, and most importantly, to every single person here tonight. Whether you've been with us from the beginning or you're just learning about Onero's work, your presence tonight matters, and your support definitely makes a difference. I want to take a moment also to acknowledge the unique moment we're facing as we gather here today. Everywhere you look, democracies are under threat, inequalities are widening, and conflicts, both old and new, demand our attention and action. Regardless of the familiarity with these crises, they are all unfolding in a context that is fragmented and uncertain. People worldwide are searching for meaning, and they are often rejecting traditional paradigms and power at the local, national, and international level. But in the midst of the countless challenges, there is hope, and some of that hope is here in this room. Onero was built on the belief that any solution worth its salt begins with dialogue. Dialogue without disrespect, dialogue with a commitment to the quest for knowledge, and dialogue with an understanding that every person, regardless of their age, can and should be centered in serious policy discussions. Our work isn't just about preparing for tomorrow. Our work is about recognizing that those voices of those leaders rising and fledgling and established will be critical in solving today's crises. The work we do here is not about 2025 or 2030 or 2050. It is right here happening this evening, tomorrow, and every day after that. Onero is committed to developing intergenerational dialogue. We are committed to instilling a deep belief in all voices for change. As every member of this organization both continues here and goes out into the world, our work is building a more informed, more inclusive, and more impactful approach to foreign policy. That work never ends, and every day we commit to that work creates compound interest in the form of deeper understanding and dedication to building a better tomorrow and a better today. So as we close tonight, each one of us must commit to carrying the determination, the passion, and the energy on display tonight forward. Each one of us must commit to supporting the voices that Onero works to lift up. Not just our own voices, but the voices of each and every one of our colleagues here, as well as those outside of this room, those who may not currently have a voice, those who are impacted by a lack of internet or a lack of connection or a lack of agency. Whether we disagree or agree with them on any given issue, this evening should serve as a reminder that while the challenges our world faces are daunting, the people driving the battle against those challenges will not go away until they leave behind a better world than the one we were born into. That goal is closer to us than you might think because of each person in this room this evening. Thank you for being a part of Onero's journey. Your support of Onero and your belief in each member who makes up this organization will help us face today's challenges and build a better tomorrow. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Sarah, for that. And I know I speak for myself, for Andrew, for all the members of Onero that when I say this couldn't have been possible without you. Another round of applause for Sarah for everything. So this marks the end of our night. I can't express how meaningful it is to have you all with us. We encourage you just to stay around, to continue to have the meaningful conversations that you've been having. Enjoy our beautiful balcony view of one of the greatest cities in the world, frankly. And I hope that you will continue to be a partner in our work. And I welcome your feedback and your partnership on all that we are doing. And look forward to stepping into the next year together as one community. So thank you all for being here, and enjoy the rest of your night.
was very, very
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you.